Man, I'm sitting here chilling out, kind of wrapping up some stuff. I'm one of those guys that kind of does taxes last minute because I never effing get refunds. So, I'm sitting here just doing some administrative work and realizing prices are going up and stuff like that. And I start doing my prep stuff. Like, I need to get ready for the storms of spring, eventually getting ready for tornado season here where I live at. You might want to be getting ready for hurricane season and just different weather events and stuff like that. And I'm realizing that prices aren't still going to be rapidly coming down for me anytime soon, because I think that this whole Iran peace deal thing is like on thin ice. It's in damn near shambles. I am seeing some forward progression that I like. And I like the fact that we are sticking to the diplomacy route. Some things that I see that are positive. There have not been any reports of drones or ballistic missiles launched into U.S. bases or any of our allied Gulf states by Iran in the last 24 hours. Now, as for their proxies, we can't say the same thing, but we'll talk more about that here in a second. So listen, deals are scheduled to start tomorrow in Pakistan, and I'm hoping that they end well. It seems like we're in this weird spot because Iran has realized that they have this newfound power, a tollway in the Strait of Hormuz. It's probably something they didn't think about or they didn't think they would ever be able to action. But before this whole war started, there was free passage of international waters, and there was no worries about anything like that. And now tankers are being urged to pay Iran cryptocurrency, and we want that to stop. Will we see it stop? I don't know. But we do see a lot of stuff that seems interesting. So Iran has these preconditions. They want a couple of things that they see. We'll talk about that here in a second. But I'm looking at Brent oil prices. I'm looking at crude oil prices. Both of those things matter to us because petroleum items, crude oil, things, anything that is powered via oil, it could affect our pockets. We're seeing surcharges on airlines. We're seeing our gas prices go up. We're seeing some things that are made with rubber and plastics like tires are going up. And I want that shit to come down. Inflation went up to like over 3%. Gas prices went up over 10% in the month of March. And look at the last 5 days. You see Easter Monday that those oil prices were way up, $108, $109, $110 range. The announcement of this ceasefire, boom, it just dropped like a rock. But steadily, it has been trying to creep its way back up. And these are things that concern me. You see, I'm looking forward to like positive things. We got our astronauts who just went the furthest away from Earth ever supposed to splash down here momentarily. But then I have to keep up with stuff like this. The Iranian delegation led by Pakistanians, their parliament speaker. They also have their foreign minister with them and like their head of international banking. They all just landed in Pakistan at the Islamabad base, and they are looking forward to these talks. However, they do have two preconditions that they want met before any type of ceasefire agreement or peace deals. Number one, they want a ceasefire in Lebanon, which absolutely is not happening right now. Israel and Lebanon seem like they damn near went gloves off. I don't think Israel wants a ceasefire in Lebanon, and I really don't think that any of the proxy groups in Lebanon are looking to do a ceasefire either until they feel like they're not getting that back from Israel. Number two, they want their assets released. Assets, you may say, there's about $10 billion in assets that are frozen, and they're frozen about 6 million of it in banks in Qatar or Qatar, $4 billion in other places around the world. They want their money unfrozen. You ever heard the story when people say like, oh man, President Obama gave Iran $1.7 billion in cash on a plane, blah, blah, blah. This is a similar scenario. To clarify that $1.7 billion was frozen money that was held in banks. We unfroze that money. I don't know why it was unfrozen. I'm assuming some sanctions relief or something like that. We unfroze that money and we sent it back to them in cash. So we were sending them their own money. Same exact thing they want here. They want their own money sent back to them, and they want that stuff unfrozen as a precondition before anything else can go down. Is that going to be something that happens? I really don't know if that's going to be able to happen. But one thing that President Trump said out loud, which we normally don't say whenever we're doing military type planning, is he's preparing the military if Iran fails to comply in talks. We're loading up our ships, they say. We're not only loading up our ships, we are also still keeping the deployment of those additional troops. They're still going out there. The aircraft carrier George H.W. Bush on its way. The 11th MEU still on its way. The soldiers from the 82nd Airborne still on their way. So the Wall Street Journal is reporting that, yeah, they're still going. Meaning that not only are we restocking our warships, which we normally don't talk about in public, the president talked about that today, we're also still sending an additional few thousand troops. A mixture of all the branches are still heading out there, meaning we're still readying ourselves just in case some shit were to go down. So President Trump says the warships are being reloaded just in case the Islamabad talks were to fail. He gave that interview to the New York Post. And he's optimistic that a deal can be reached, but we just never know. I'm very optimistic a deal can be reached as well. You got to think about, what did everything look like before this war started? The Strait of Hormuz was open. International rules-based order was pretty much intact for the most part, other than the whole Venezuela thing. You could sail the open seas. You only had to worry about pirates in certain areas. But for the most part, if you were flying a flag of a real country, you had the backing of a lot of different nations. This whole war exposed just how easily a country, in any individual country, could jam pack, hold up a strait or a canal or a gulf just like that. Imagine another country feeling emboldened. Djibouti. I don't know what type of navy they had, but let's just say Djibouti was the same way. We got the same type of issues in the Red Sea. If we have any type of issues in any of the countries that are near the Suez Canal, that could be the same type of issues as well. This exposes the importance of the rules-based international order. We're seeing stuff from National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett, which I think he put his foot in his mouth, and I'm very confident he's going to be coming out and cleaning this up, because he says the Strait of Hormuz could be open. The supply of oil could return to its usual within the next 2 months. Very confident that he flubbed that statement up, and he probably meant to say the Strait of Hormuz needs to be open immediately and the flow of oil could return to its normal levels within the next 2 months, which is more of a reasonable statement to make, but wouldn't have to worry about this shit if we wasn't over there making this stuff happen. We'd be spending our money here and worry about stuff that we need to worry about over here, such as them dang on those fouls, okay, that's the round with Blepstein, all right? So we could worry about that type of stuff instead of what we got going on right now. Very limited movement in the Strait of Hormuz. If you were worried about your prices coming down sooner than later, limited ship movement resumes in the Strait of Hormuz. And when I say limited, I mean limited. And so literally 1 or 2 oil tankers were able to get through the Strait of Hormuz in the last 24 hours. There are hundreds of vessels, some of them dry, some of them with a load. Some are stuck in the Gulf. Some are stuck in the Gulf of Aden. So we have the Gulf of Aden, the Persian Gulf, all these ships, hundreds of them just sitting around with just like waiting for their opportunity to get through. And it is not looking very promising because they're still worried about the threat of mines, about unmanned waterborne drones, about manpacks, about ballistic missiles, because you can say all day there's a ceasefire, but if I own a $200 million oil tanker, I'm a private citizen, and I have a crew of 60 on board, like, yeah, I'm going to just wait. I'm either going to wait, or if I get permission from, let's say, the owner of the oil tanker company or something like that to pay the toll, I might consider paying the dang on toll, because it might be a new world and we just going to pass that cost to whoever buys the stuff that is on our ship. So we're getting data that says that this is the lowest number of ships, just two, to pass through the Strait of Hormuz since the ceasefire was announced on Tuesday. Prior to the war, 130 to 160 ships went through that strait every single day. And it's not just that simple as they're that low of numbers passing through. Some of these owners of these tankers are being urged not to pay the toll. So not only we have to worry about that, but so Belcher of the Intertanko Group, which represents 190 independent tank operators and more than half of the world's oil tanker fleet, is advising its members don't pay a toll because an attack can still take place at any given day. Meaning, if you pay the toll, that still doesn't guarantee you won't get attacked. So they're hoping for a ceasefire deal, which solidifies everything versus just simply paying a toll and rolling the dice and risking it all. So the CPI had its largest jump in inflation since 1967 because of gas prices. And so these are the things that we're dealing with every single day. How stable is this negotiations going to be? I hope they work out really, really well. We got Vice President J.D. Vance is leading the delegation for the United States. We have the leader of the parliament for Iran is leading the delegation along with the foreign minister for Iran. There's a blueprint, which was a 10-point proposal, but maybe it's not that. And maybe it's a secret proposal. It's a handshake deal we don't know about. As it stands right now, I feel like we're about to get hoed. Before all this started, we had all these aspirations and all these plans. Remember the 4 goals we had at the very beginning of this? Degrade their Navy, make sure that the proxy groups are not able to use their proxy groups as much, make sure they're still not able to enrich uranium. And then for the most part, we kind of had like hopeful regime change. Literally, out of those 4, 0 may be fully accomplished. Because if the Navy still has the capability to put the clamp down on vessels in the strait, not really accomplished. If they still have the enriched uranium and are able to do it even more, not really accomplished. You see their freaking proxy groups still have power throughout the region. Their ballistic missile program was another objective that we have. They still seem to have a bunch of those. And not only that, they closed the Strait of Hormuz. We literally might get hold because we're going to be paying higher prices, and I'm not really sure what the hell we achieve by going over there and kicking it. So what I really need is I need this diplomatic effort to work so that we can focus on emergency prep and spending stuff here that are completely out of our control. Okay. The United States government can't control how hurricanes come, how tornadoes come, when earthquakes happen. At least I don't think they can control that shit. So therefore, I would like to spend my time, my money, my efforts in my videos talking to you guys about prepping for stuff that is force majeure, things that are in God's will versus things that we seem to just be doing on our own. My forecast, based on the current actions, lack of progression, this ceasefire is unlikely to last more than another 5 days at most if these talks do not work tomorrow. But what do I know? Comment down below. What do you think? Do you think that the Hezbollah fighting, the blocked assets, that's going to stop so we can get the ball rolling on this? I don't know. Not feeling very good. First time stopping by, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you part of the battalion. If this is not your first time stopping by, well, thank you once again for watching me run my grape. For everyone else, we'll speak soon.